Now first we're going to start the Somali history. When I say Somali history, I mean your history. Where your parents came from. Where your origin was started from. So where Somali means. Have you ever asked to your parents, who your abo? Somali حاجة كتمت. مقع الصومالي محير. مقع الصومالي أنشياء محير. ها؟ إيه؟ موجود. أوكي. قمر. Somali. Okay. Have you ever asked to your parent? No. The word Somalis, there's 2-3 different theories. Some say Somal. Who knows Somal? Neefka markii la maalayo, you know? Geela, looda, ariga, caanaha. Where do we get the milk from? Huh? Cows. The cows. Which part of the cow do we get the milk? From their breasts. They have a big breast there. So we milk it from their breasts. So that's where we get the milk. In Somali, when you want to make the milk from the cow, we say Somal. And usually, Somali, they used to welcome their guests when they come to their home. And you say, oh, mama, go and Somal left. Means bring a milk for him, for that guest. So the word came from Somal. That's one theory. The other one, it says Somali. Somali. Somali, the word originally means the good one. So what's our Somali diet? Ad and ano. Yes, exactly. So Somali diet, usually we say ad and ano, means milk and meat. We don't have rice, we don't have spaghetti, we don't have potatoes. So our diet originally is, what's American diet? I don't mean America today. The original American's diet, what is it? Corn and maize, yeah. See, but Somali is meat and milk. So we can say Somal means came from the milking. Somal means came from the meat. Somal means a wealthy family. So that's where your name came from. But the biggest question is, where are the Somalis? We know everybody in the world where they came from. And this is also, there's another controversial. Where the original of Somali came from? There's a lot of questions. Nobody knows so far originally where they came from. But there's other ideas or theories that people, they say in different parts. So that one is the one of the theories. Some, we don't know. Some they say from Arabs. No, we are not from the Arabs. Maybe the modern Somalis. But origin of Somalis, okay, can you turn for me, please? Okay, Somali history. Somali people is one of the several ethnic group in East Africa known as Kushites or Cushitic. So we are from Cushitic. So even though we are from Cushitic, some group says we are from Cushitic, but which Cushitic are we from? Some they say, okay, we are the lost Eastern Cushitic known as Makododo, who are landed in Mahir Coast between His and Bosaso. Eastern Cushitic, those who are living in Eastern Indian area, Somali area, is called Makododo. Because we have other Cushitics like the Oromo, like the Borana. So all like Amhara. Amhara is originally from Arabs. And from Prophet Solomon. But the question is, this Makododo is, they are landed in Mahir Coast, which is between His and Bosaso. So Bosaso today we know it is Puntland, and His is somewhere in that area, between Somaliland and Puntland. But originally we call it Somali. These are new names. Okay, can you go next? Okay, location. Where is Somali are located? If you have been asked, okay, Mr. Jeremy Harder, Jeremy B, ask you, where are you located at? If you don't know. We are Eastern African, bordering with the Gulf of Aden and Indian Ocean. east of Ethiopia. So we are in that area. When we say Eastern Africa, we mean it's Kenya and that Indian Ocean. Total area of Somali is 637,657 square feet, total including the water. So when we say the land is 627,337 square kilometers. So the water, sea including sea, which means Indian Ocean and Gulf of Aden, is 10,320 square kilometers. 5 times, if you came to America, one of the states, 5 times the size of Alabama, and slightly smaller than Texas. So now, because you're 8th grade, you might study American history, and all the history nowadays we learn is mostly state of Minnesota and America. So this is how you can explain if someone asks you the size of Somali, where they are and where they are. If you need a copy of this one, I can give a copy to Mr. Jeremy B and he can give you. Okay, next. Still, we have same connection with the first one. Somali harbors in natural ports called for traders, sailing. Mostly that's how we get the religion, Islam religion, because the Arabs came from the ocean part, sailing and from India. So the coastline of the region is much visited by foreigners, in particular Arabs and Persians. But in the interior Somali are left for their own devices. But mostly where the civilization comes, the coastal area. We have more civilized people. In the hinterland, we have the farmers and the vegetarians, the people who look after the animals. But the question is, before these traders and foreigners came, have you ever had Hatshepsut? In Somali, we say Hatshepsut. That's the princess or the queen of Egypt. About 5,000 years ago, she sent an expedition to Somalia. And because we don't have that Suez Canal where there's a link between Egypt and the Red Sea. But those people, there were a lot of people, like over 2,000 expeditions, including writers, craftsmen, farmers, readers, teachers. There's a lot of people in that group. And also a laborer who carries the boats, because they cannot sail from Egypt to Somalia, because the canal was made sometimes in 1800. And nobody can cross through. So they carry all the boats across to the Red Sea. Hatshepsut expedition came to Somalia, and they take what they call Maydi or the Foha Bahashan Utkul Wushit. And that's where it came. For example, have you had pharaohs are still alive? If you go to you will see their body was prevented. So that usually comes from Somalia. That's why they called Puntland, means the land of essence. It smells good, because they used to get all those things that, essences that they pan it when they are having rituals. But that's why some parts say, okay, Somalis are not from Arabs, but the first Arab came to Somalia in 1860, and there are 2 brothers who has been expelled from Yemen, and their name was Hassan and Hussein. But Somali people were there even before the pharaohs. That's why the Egyptian people, when they see you, they call it Ardul Ajdaduna. Oh, you came from the land of our grandfathers. So some of the Somali, they believe they are the descendant of the pharaohs of Ra'inti. Have you ever had pharaohs? Moses, who was fighting with? Yeah, in Somali we say Fir'aun. But in English we say Pharaoh. Pharaoh means the great of Sangodre. In Somali, that word, we have it also. Pharaoh means the great of Sangodre. Fir'aun is not a name, it's a title. This is a quick synopsis of Somali and how they were before. 13th to 17th century, Somali was ruled by the Ajuran Sultanate. There's a Somali tribe called Ajuran. Now, there are only few in South Somalia, and I think I saw a group in somewhere called Wajer area. They have a called Buro Tarbanje. There's also that tribe lives. But Ajuran, they were very powerful kingdom in Somalia. Then in 1875, Egypt occupied Somalia, coast, parts of interior. So they live in the coastal area and part of the interior of Somalia. In 1860, French acquired footholds on Somali coast and later became Djibouti. So Somalia was divided. That's the only country, I think there are only 2 countries that has been divided 5 in the world. Somali is one of them. The other people that has been divided into 5 are Kurds of Iraq. There are also some in Syria. There are some in Iran. There are some in Turkey. So those ones, they are divided into 5. Somali were also divided into 5. That's why our flag shows a star with 5 corners. So one corner is southern Somalia, which is Mogadishu area. The second one is northern Somalia, which is around Hargeisa. The third one is Djibouti, which has been given to French, because southern Somalia was occupied by the Italian. Northern Somalia was given to British. And French Somaliland, which is Djibouti, was given to French. So the other 2 parts, one part was given Kenya, which we call it NFD, Northern Frontier District. That's Mandera, Moyale, Marsabit, Wajer. So there are 5 districts in that area. So the other part is called Western Somalia, which has been given to Ethiopia. So there was a war in 1977. So that was between the Western Somalia and Somalia Abu. So that's only 2 countries that has been divided into 5, because we don't know the question. You might be the historian one day, and we need the answer from you guys. Okay, in 1887, British proclaimed the Protectorate of Somaliland. That's where I was telling you, Hargeisa area. In 1888, Angola-French agreement was defined in the boundaries. Somali was made into a boundaries. That's why, since 1960, we have been in a war. Okay, in 50s, so Somaliland, because Somali was divided into 5, and how it came. This is all chronological. So Somali get independent in northern Somalia or southern Somalia. Which one get independent first? Who goes to Somali Day in July 1st on Carmel area, Lake Street? They always talk about this. Okay, do you go? Have you ever been there? Somali Day. How many of you have been to Somali Day? Yeah. City of Minneapolis, they recognize Somali Day as of July 1st. So they close all the way down to Carmel into Lake area. So people, they play, they have music, they have Somali history, they all talk about it. So the first group was Northern Somalia, and they get the independence from British on June 26, 1960. 5 days later, Southern Somalia was given an independence from Italian. So this is the roots, how we have connected to the world. This I talked about. I didn't show you before. Okay, can we go next? So Somalia used to have a money in beforehand, and the money looked like that. So this is one of Al Manara. So this is Masjid Abdikadir, it still exists. It was built in 18th century. Can we go next? So this is Masjid Arba' Rukun. So this masjid is center of Somali in Mogadishu, because when I graduated from the university, my teacher asked me to write it about something, about this masjid. My thesis to be Arba' Rukun. Then I contacted several people. I could not read it, but I never get a good history. But this mosque was when the Somalis never been independent. There were some Arabs living in Mogadishu area. So there were 4 different tribes. None of them could be, they wanted to nominate a king. None of them could be a king, because each tribe wanted to be the king. So how they say, okay, we have 4 tribes, how can we share that? Then they said, okay, let's wait then. Then later, a man called Fakhruddin, who was a Muslim scholar, came, who was a different Arab. Then he used to lead the prayers in this masjid. This masjid has a big history. Then he became, they said, okay, since this is the most knowledgeable person in Islamic and religion, and also he's a scholar, why don't you make him the king? So because we don't want I don't want you to be my king, so none of us wants to be the king for each other. So they established that kingdom, and that kingdom is called Fakhruddin Kingdom. And the center of that kingdom used to be that Arba'a Rukun. Arba'a Rukun means the 4 pillars. So it has 4 corners. It's a small mosque. I prayed in it. It's the center of which it still exists. So that's why this one has that history. Next. So this is the map of Somalia. So this is Ethiopian. This is the Western Somali. This is Djibouti. It was given French. This is Northern Somalia. It was given the British. This is Southern Somalia. It was given to Italy. And Northeast starts from here. So this is Kenya-Somalia border. So that's how the Somalis was divided. So this is the stars. So each represents into one. Next. Okay, this is the Somali culture. Do you know we have a Somali museum in Minnesota?
Museum?
Who visited there? Have you ever been there? They have all of these items. So this is the utensils that you use for eating. These are all the Somali culture. This is handmade. Nothing is machine made. Even the cloth is handmade. Everything was made by Somali ladies, mostly, not male. Male, mostly they do this one. All the wooden part was made by the male. So this is how people, they take care of themselves. This is the culture of Somalis. So they are drowning water. The camel, that's why it's very important in Somalia or also in Arabs. So mostly ladies, they bring water, but the male, they grasses the animal. Okay, now, the Northern Somalia gets independent from, this is what I was telling you now, from Britain in June 26, 1960, and Southern from Italy in July 1st. So North and South, they unified and they established Somali Republic on July 1st, 1960. You done? Okay, so do we have any question? You could say more, but I want to give a time for Mr. Said. Thank you.